Everyone checking in on the cryptocurrency space. Not a lot has gone on in the past couple days while the market is remaining extremely volatile. Oil is in free fall. Check out my market videos if you're interested in the in-depth about that. But in the short term, shout out to members who have been continually pointing out how Bitcoin sometimes is leading the S&P 500. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll tell you. So if we look at this morning, S&P 500 opened at 9:30 a.m. Look at this bull move in SPY or in Bitcoin. What time did it happen? Kicked off at 9:28, 2 minutes of extremely bullish action, and we run up about 3% plus in that 2 minutes. And then that move continues. What happened during SPY at that same point in time? Look at before the open. Bear with me. So before the open, nothing. So right now, during this candle and this candle, Bitcoin is spiking on bull volume and going 3 to 4%. The bell rings, and we have 4 minutes and a 3% bull move. So Bitcoin, in my opinion, by 2 minutes, led the S&P 500 significant bull move, and then they both continued in the same direction for the morning. That is notable. That is worth paying attention to. But aside from that, big picture, what I am watching right now is the hourly. So the hourly is in a tightening range. We had 54.21 resistance. We did just break that level, but we're in a continued environment that we've seen before where bull breaks are immediately sold into as the bears try and smack that price back down, which they are successful at least in the short term. Anything above 50.70 is an hourly higher low. Bigger picture, again, just keeping it simple, tightening range, and the vast majority of all of cryptocurrency coins are doing this. Low, high, got to turn our magnet on, so low, high, higher, low, and we're looking for a lower high compared to 59.85. Bulls would have to break 6,000 convincingly for a daily trend change. If we do not break 6,000, I anticipate we're going to trade in this tightening range into the weekend. And then we would expect volume spikes and volatility spikes over this weekend for breaks of this tightening range. So keeping an eye out, are we going to get one more lower high compared to 6,000, one more higher low and get really tight? 4-hour time frame would need a little bit more bear follow through if we're going to say our daily lower high has been set. Dominance chart for Bitcoin is testing its highs. 66.48 was a double top. We just hit 66.22. So trying to see Bitcoin gaining strength, but again, as long as we're sideways here, not really much going on in that way. So it's going to require a break of this daily range for us to see who's stronger. Is Bitcoin breaking bullish, or I should say, is Bitcoin breaking bullish further, or all the altcoins breaking bullish further, and vice versa if it's a bear break. ETH, so very similar, daily inside bar yesterday, extremely tight range today. We haven't even bounced enough to call this a daily higher low at 150 cents. I would need to see the bulls get up over 121.49 for us to say, okay, that's our higher low, and we would then be looking at 148 resistance from there. But as of right now, that's sideways. That's why Bitcoin's gaining a little bit. So Bitcoin on the daily time frame is not multiple daily inside bars in a row. It's just one. Because yesterday broke the high of Monday. ETH yesterday did not break the high of Monday. So ETH BTC is seeing some weakness because of that. We're heading down towards our low. Low of the dump, high of the bounce. Bulls must hold 2108 to form a higher low on the daily compared to that level. LTC, and again, everybody that we're going to look at aside from Dash at the end is doing the same thing here. So LTC is extremely tight as well. We got a bear break of the inside bar. Again, not going to get much follow through unless the entire sector is doing the same thing. But that's even slightly weaker than what Ethereum is doing. And we have no confidence that our daily higher low is set yet at 29.17. We haven't seen enough bounce follow through yet. XRP USD, multiple sideways inside bars, very similar to ETH. BNB, sideways, little bit stronger, but very, very similar. XTZ, sideways, very tight. And again, the break of these inside bars is not going to be the break of this broader range, in my opinion. It's just going to be a break to dictate higher lows being set if we can end up with a little bit of a bull break, which the bulls desperately need to form these daily higher lows. Link, same thing, sideways. Need a bull break of the inside bars for the daily higher low to be set. BCH, a little bit stronger. So BCH, we look at the high of the bounce, 200. And we look at 190, and 192 is a little double top, but we have clearly set the daily higher low. So I'm viewing it as the low of the dump, high of the bounce, on the same candle, higher low, and it's all about 200 resistance now. BSV, sideways, nothing going on there. And Dash, there's your big difference. Inside bar bull break, huge volume, and clearly standing out. I believe it's privacy coins that are seeing the bull breaks. I'd have to see the other names that got some follow through as well. Don't have them off the top of my head, but obviously after everybody's doing the same thing that we just looked at, which is pretty rare to be that correlated in this crypto space, to see Dash doing this is notable. 4 hour, a little bit of consolidation underway, and we'll look for a 4 hour higher low to form. Is our weekly bounce underway? Not yet. Weekly inside bar. Inside bar has to break bullish next week for the weekly bounce to be underway. So other coins are all looking at Dash and saying, I hope we break that way too, keeping in mind that daily exponential resistance will be waiting even if we do. So things are very tight. The one takeaway that the crypto space has at this point, they're trading sideways while oil and gold and SPY all drop lower. And we have been correlated for a while. That correlation has broken with pretty much people that are going to bail on crypto. It's looking like they've already done so. And if we see, what I'm going to be curious, the next thing I'm looking for is when the S&P 500 gets a clear bounce underway on the daily, does that help? So right now we're in a scenario where if we're looking at a correlation between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin, if we're seeing the S&P 500 drop and Bitcoin staying steady, does that mean when they bounce, they both go up at the same time? So we'll be watching the bounce correlation once the daily bounce happens on the S&P 500, but we need an hourly trend change there for any bounce follow through first. So that's where we stand. Not a whole lot going on. Positioning perhaps within this tightening range. You can be making a play off the low of support. You can be making a play off the high of resistance. In my opinion, if we haven't dumped to lower lows yet with the market dumping, I do believe a market bounce is going to be coming sooner rather than later, maybe in a day or two or three. Sometime in the next few days, I'm anticipating a market bounce and curious to see if that's going to help a bull break of this tightening range. So I appreciate you watching. Hope you're doing good things out there, staying safe and calm and informed during this coronavirus. Certainly interesting things going on in the broader macroeconomic world. We're seeing the dollar breaking out in a big way. We're seeing oil dumping, the markets dumping. One thing that you can be doing if you are quarantining and alone is fostering a pet. I just signed up for an emergency foster application because our local humane society is overwhelmed and needs people to take care of some older animals. So that's a potential idea. Plant that seed, pass it on to anybody you know that could use an animal friend, and we'll see you soon. Do good things.